somebody on the line. Anybody out there? Damn it, I think I'm the last son of a bitch alive.
What's happened?
Who's there? Who's there?
It's me.
I don't know who that
Justin.
is. Speak, damn you, speak!
Wow, super friendly. My name's Justin. Pleased to meet you.
Yeah, pleased to meet you.
What the hell happened?
Dude, it's the end of the world. I'm in a bunker. What? You're in a bunker. Where are you located, by the way?
Oh, this is a place in Montana. It's an old missile silo.
Wait a minute, that's where I am. Hold on, that's where I am. Why does your place look so much better than mine?
I rented it. I don't know. It's got a bathroom, fridge.
Nobody told you they could rent. I'm in the basement level. You see this shit behind me? None of this computers even work anymore.
Man. Well, you should come on up sometime. I mean, not right now, because I'm really busy. I don't even know the
access code. I don't even know the access code to get out of here. I'm stuck in here, man.
Oh. Well, that does suck for you.
Look, just a quick breakdown. Like, it's the end of the world. We don't know why. All I was told was we had to get to the bunker. And I awaken. There's rumbling outside. A bunch of, like, error signals and, alarms and stuff. I come here. I get on my workstation to see if anybody's here. You're the only one that's showing up.
Well, that is tragic. I just got up and, opened Pornhub and noticed it was offline, and I thought, what the hell's going on? Well, I didn't know it was the end of the world.
You thought you were just in Florida. I get it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, all right. Nice. Well, look, I don't really know where to go with this. I mean, like, what do we do? I guess we get to know each other.
They say it starts with birds and snakes and airplanes and, it's the end of the world as we know it. It's
No. Don't do that.
All right.
I don't want to hear that. No.
It's way too cliche. You're right.
Yeah. It's way too cliche. Maybe after we've gotten to know each other a little bit. All right. Tell me about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? Or what did you do?
Well, I was a boulangerie owner. Really good at baking and phyllo dough making. And I retired and started renting out strange Airbnbs all around the nation. It's just something I do because I'm cool.
Boulangerie?
Yeah, it's how do I explain this to someone like you? It's like a Dunkin' Donuts, but for people who have taste.
Okay, got it. All right. Guess we'll never have them as a sponsor. Anyway, let's see. I guess you want to know about me. Thanks for asking. What did I do? Well, I was an independent filmmaker. I mean, it never really got What's wrong with that?
Nothing. I'm sorry. I thought I was muted.
Yeah, you can do fancy donut shops, but being an artist is just too much. I see how it is. We're not getting off to a great start here, Bob.
My mistake. Please proceed.
Okay. Anyway, look. It looks like we're going to be stuck in here for a while until somebody can help us out.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we can go outside, all right, without a hazmat suit or something. So if you don't mind, I'm going to check the weather here. Hold on, here's the screen. Yeah, we have an assigned weatherman as part of this bunker. At least we have a feed to it or something. Let's see. All right.
To learn.
Hey, Bunker 112, is that you?
What?
Bunker 112, is that you? This is Jason.
Yeah. Have you got my wife? Is she with you?
No, there's nobody here. I'm stuck in the basement.
She went off with the guy in the other bunker because apparently he had better hors d'oeuvres. Fuck you, Sheila, you rancid cunt. Woe is me. What do you want?
All right, look, hey, listen. Do you have a weather update? You're aware that the world has ended. You're worried about Sheila, but literally the world, as we know it, is over.
Oh, you can't. Weather forecast, yeah. I'll give you weather forecast. It's 40% chance of questionable ash falling from the sky and 85% chance of completely fucked.
God, that does not sound promising.
No, I guess that means we can't go outside. All right, Andy. Well, look, I assume...
Hang on, I just got to finish writing my review. No access to pool.
Yeah. Listen, Andy, my name's Jason.
Hello.
The other guy with me here is Justin. We're in underground bunker 117. Were you a meteorologist or a weather guy before the end of the world?
It's been bad. You know, outside's fucking terrible, and Sheila left me, and...
Dude, I think we have bigger things to worry about right now.
I'll tell you one thing. Sheila's a great gal.
Wait a minute.
Or she was.
Sheila?
Well,
Wait.
Everybody up here knows Sheila, but no. Listen, it's not what you're thinking. She's dead, so don't worry about it. Oh, I probably should have let your next of kin tell you that, but what's done is done.
Yeah. Sorry about that, dude. I don't think there's any next of kin at this point.
Yeah.
Well, at least we all got a run of Sheila, right? High five.
Yeah.
Poor bastard that was married to her. Oh,
Yeah.
that was you.
Yeah.
Drink up, pal. All right, listen. I'm gonna. Do you have any real substantive weather updates besides Sheila's a cunt and it's bad outside? Anything we can work with?
I've been trying to shake the debris off of the lens by wiggling the camera around, but it's mostly blocked. I've got a small window and it just looks fucking terrible. I can't tell if it's rain or ash.
Shaking it in both directions. Right at your face.
I've been trying to manipulate it in a good way and it's just not working.
Hey,
on.
happens to all of us.
All right, if we can stop with the hand gestures for a moment, I might be wrong about this, but I believe we're getting there's an incoming signal coming from President Scott?
No.
I didn't vote for him.
Connie, listen, I just need to understand if this is presidential. No. I know it's not the suit, but I understand that the troops wear these, and I wanted to look more like, like I'm supportive of our warfighters. Gentlemen, welcome. This is I, Sean Scott, the president of we'll just call it the Republic for now. It is a pleasure no, actually, it's not a pleasure at all. It's pretty grim out there. I just want to convey the sadness of a nation towards all of you survivors who are still out there, still scrapping, still surviving, still making do. And for you gentlemen in particular who are listening to me right now, I want to give the thanks of a grateful nation because you have volunteered. What? Connie, I'm getting to that. Do you mind? You could have been the first lady, but you're the first maybe. Okay? Thank you. She's really nice, I promise.
I think Sheila and Connie were friends.
So, my fellow my fellow survivors, I just want to extend to you that we are here, that your government still survived. It is still thriving deep underground in bunkers much better than yours. And we are going to get through this. But for you, I have a mission. I understand your background, and I need you to support your nation in the rebuilding process and the preservation of our culture. You are the curators, and you are housed in a very special vault. This vault is to preserve the culture of the former United States of America. And we will not talk about what it is today with the What? I didn't say the word invasion. I didn't say that. I understand. No, but I didn't say it. Okay? All right then. Thank you. Can I be the president now? Thank you, Connie.
Cool, President.
All right.
This is super cool.
So I did not say invasion. I did not say that at all. What I am saying is that you have a mission, and your mission is to review all available media, mostly film media, to make sure and to assess whether or not that media should be carried forward into our future. Think of our children and our children's children and our much deformed children's children's children, and think about what they may want to see and learn about our culture and the way it was when we were alive. Okay? So that's your mission.
Well, Mr. President, I just have to say what an honor it is, and you have made an excellent selection, as you may or may not know. I'm a filmmaker.
Well, the honor is all yours, I promise you. And it's good to know that you are a filmmaker that confirms the information that we had gathered on you in secret. So thank you for confirming that out loud. Now, what we need is for you to rally behind this new entity that we're calling the Republic. And we have to be very careful. Please call it the Republic. Do not call it One Republic. Do not call it Republica, because those are copywritten and you cannot use those, even though we are in a post-apocalyptic world. So what we need you to do to support this new union, this new republic, is provide entertainment. Entertainment is going to be the hook, the hope for a new future. Okay? And yes, I understand, Connie. I did not mention the visitors. No, I did not. Nor did I. Yes, I did. I gave them hope. I just said the word hope. Okay? Keep hope alive. All of that. Yes, I did it. Okay. So this show that you're going to produce, you're going to look at movies that have existed, things that were created in the past, and you're going to be the ones, the curators, to determine whether or not these films should move forward with us into our future. That is your mandate, that you provide this feedback, you review these movies, and you give your new country hope. That hope coming from whether or not this film should be preserved for our future. Now, would you like to know how this show needs to be?
What do you mean show?
Oh, gentlemen, this is entertainment, okay? This is going to be a fully produced show. It's going to have segments. It's going to have outros. It's going to have in-jokes. It's going to be something to entertain the survivors and also to boost morale and, to give you something to do, because I understand it's pretty hard out there. At least that's what I hear. It's not that hard in here.
Excuse me, Mr. President. I don't think you understand. I'm a filmmaker. I've actually been at home and watched people win Academy Awards while I'm at home. What you're telling and what you're describing right now is television. I don't know if I can do that.
How very astute of you, Jason. Yes, it is very much like television, except for one thing. Television no longer exists. So you can call it whatever you want. You can call it a podcast. You can call it television. You can call it a major motion film that is being held inside of a tiny little bunker. But whatever you do, make the show. You will benefit the country by doing so. And we won't talk about what happens if you don't. Okay?
Got it. Okay, well, I think...
Unnecessary threat, but all right.
Yeah, I think we're all in. Okay, so what's the first film that we're going to watch?
Well, I want you to breathe in, exhale. I want you to channel your inner ancient times, and I want you to think about your roots, and I want you to know that your first film that you will be reviewing is Braveheart. White people love Braveheart, yeah?
I mean, I loved it a long time ago, sure. Sorry, Andy, what was that?
I'm not interested in the Scottish play, and this is basically just Lethal Weapon with kilts.
Danny Glover was going to co-star, but he had diplomatic immunity.
And it's just been revoked.
He was too old for this shit anyway.
Yeah!
We'll be right back. Hi, everyone. This is Jason Beard, host of Dystopian Drive-In. I don't know about you, but being stuck in an underground bunker day in and day out, things can get pretty rank, especially with no running water and limited deodorizers. Daily life in a bunker can be downright fetid. Until now. Introducing Dr. Jericho's Mystery Seepage, a natural occurring substance that appeared after the apocalypse that Dr. Jericho claimed. We don't know how it came to be, whether it's some sort of nuclear byproduct like sapling from an irradiated tree, an excretion from a mutated beast, or rust-colored semen from an as-of-yet unknown sexual pervert. But here's what we do know. Once the violent chemical reaction subsides, a single dime-sized dollop of mystery seepage will transform your damp, dreary underground dwelling into a space that smells exactly like your favorite dentist's office or the DMV. So take it from me, Jason Beard, and order a batch of Dr. Jericho's Mystery Seepage today, while they still last. Dr. Jericho's Mystery Seepage. Don't ask what's in it, ask what it can do for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, at the behest of Mr. President Sean Scott, who has joined us and will grace us with his presence for the duration. Yeah. And then some guy named Andy. Andy, you okay over there, dude?
Yeah, it's starting to kick in.
Okay. I'm not sure those are eye drops. All right. So I didn't know you could score H around here. But okay, so we're going to get into the functional analysis, which is what I've been instructed to call the movie review. We're going to do a deep dive of Braveheart. I guess at this point, coming back from break, everybody's seen the film. Everybody's familiar with it? Okay.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll talk about it. So this was a film that this had an important place in my heart. I was in when I watched this the first time. I was alone. I was in a theater. I was in this was not a good time for Jason. I will tell you that. So when I watched this movie and sort of not to skip to the end, but the emotional upheaval of all of it, I sobbed in the theater. I was just torn apart by this. So I just saw it at the time. What a beautiful film. And I've seen it countless times since, at least up until the point that we had the ability to do so prior to the end of the world. Speaking of Mr. President, what happened? What happened out there?
I am not at liberty to say. Suffice it to say, you should not go outside anytime soon if you value your limbs and your skin.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I guess then we won't ask that question anymore. In fact, there's somebody pounding on my door. I'm assuming it's Secret Service, or do you still have something like that?
Connie! Did we dispatch the Secret Service to their bunker? Oh, apparently no, that's not us. I'm not sure what that is. You probably shouldn't answer that.
I don't think I will, thank you. Justin, what was it like for you when you first watched Braveheart for the first time?
Well, as you know, Jason, that was 1995,
Yes.
and it was a different world then. Movies didn't have to be accurate or, good to elicit an emotional response. And I really loved the movie the first zillion times I watched it. As you know, as we all know, Andy, Jason, and myself, of course, we all know that Braveheart's required viewing if you're white, as you say. But as I got older, my perspective on this movie has changed.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we're going to definitely get into that. I was about to say, Sean, sorry for the informalities. Mr. President, were your thoughts when you saw this for the first time?
Watching this the first time when I was a young man, I loved this movie. It was inspirational. It was aspirational if you aspire to, take over England. And it was something that really spoke to my inner man child, I think you could say. One of the things that I think resonated with me in the age in which I was when this came out was, full of still young man hormones, and you're watching these men rallying to overthrow a tyrannical government, and you feel like you almost feel this like, grr, I want to do that too. And I think reflecting back on it as an older man now, I go, you people are crazy. You never were going to win that fight. It was never going to go your way under any circumstances, but you still have to respect the hustle. And so I think I looked at it from a very superficial standpoint the first time I watched it. Just, war movie, go bang, and it was great. And watching it later as an older person, I did appreciate some of the nuance of the movie. There were a couple things in the later watching, I was like, why did you do that? But overall, I still enjoy the movie, but I definitely see its flaws.
Absolutely. Andy, if you're sober enough to discuss it, what did you think about this movie, Braveheart?
I liked the guy.
Braveheart.
I liked the guy. I've liked him immediately. The fact that, you realize he's lost his family and everything that he's ever cared about just gets you right here. But then he gets the dog and he finds some gasoline for his car, and everybody else is fighting over the gasoline, and the scenery is kind of desertly like, and gets a haircut somewhere, and then
Yeah, I don't think we're talking about Braveheart anymore. Where did your mind skip off to there? Was this a John Wick? Did we enter in John Wick territory somehow?
no, it was when he was in Australia.
Mad Max.
Oh, yeah, that guy. We're doing
all the
the
signs.
sequel, Mad Max in Scotland.
Right. Well, that's an interesting thing. So what you're referring to is a much older Mel Gibson movie, probably the one that brought him to our eyes and made him famous. The Mad Max series, The Road Warrior, and Beyond the Thunderdome, starring the wonderful Tina Turner. But interestingly enough, I was doing some research on Braveheart, and as it turns out, Mel Gibson actually never wanted to star in the movie. He just wanted to direct it. But the studio wouldn't go for it unless he did. So that's why he agreed to do the part of William Wallace. Speaking of, in the very beginning scenes where we're learning about, we're already hearing how horrible King Edward Longshanks is, and that he's brought some Scottish nobles together to try and have some sort of parley. But really it was a ruse. He was just he basically hung all these people.
The English were notoriously a bunch of bastards for many hundreds of years. Took over many countries with just arrogance and gumption.
Yeah. What bastards.
It is still rather fascinating to think about the fact that small island country ran the entire world for a long time.
Pretty things.
Yeah. So, ignoring the request or demand, rather, from his father, young William Wallace shows up to this location where the parley was supposed to happen, and they find a bunch of hanged Scots. And I just got to say, that young kid, James Robinson was his name. What an actor, man. What a great actor. I don't know if he ever did anything else. I don't think I ever saw him in anything else. But I just thought he was a great child actor. I just thought he did a great job. Any thoughts about that? All right, moving on. So then...
Wait.
I'll say this. One of the things that I paid attention to about him was how well he played stoic. And in the funeral scene, when he's burying his parents, his family, his father and his brother, he didn't cry at all. He didn't shed a tear until he got the flower from the girl. That's when he finally broke. Woo. And I noted that because I said, wow, like as an actor, like that's a dope choice. But also as a character, him just trying to be strong. And it took an act of kindness for him to actually break.
That's a really good point. So one thing I'll say, we're going to get into how we know Mel Gibson today. We will talk about that a little bit. But the Mel Gibson in 95, man, did he direct the hell out of this movie. I will say, as a filmmaker, I've been an enormous fan of his, just from a director standpoint. I mean, like, he really puts everything into every film that he does. Sometimes I think he loses his mind a little bit when he does it. But
Apocalypto.
Yes, which I love that movie. That's one that hopefully we'll be able to talk about one day. That's the one where he definitely lost his mind a little bit. But I will say that 95 Mel Gibson, before we knew what we would find out, it was just an amazing thing. I just thought, wow, who knew this guy could do that? He was this guy who was in Lethal Weapon and, movies like that. And then all of a sudden he comes out with this huge, grand, sweeping epic, which at the time, as Justin can attest, even though we don't really know each other all that well, I was not an appreciator of history back in those days. I have learned to be, but I was not always like that. All right, so then William Wallace leaves with his uncle Argyle, played by Brian Cox,
who was never seen again.
You're required by the British Crown to say Sir Brian Cox, or
Sir,
the
that's right.
incomparable Brian Cox, you can say.
Yes. I just remember the line. It's just like, you don't know Latin. Well, that is something we shall have to remedy, isn't it? I just love that line. I use it in daily life. That's something we shall have to remedy. Anyway, I just love that.
There was a nice callback to that later in the movie too that I appreciated.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I just got to know something. How old was Brian Cox in 1995?
When
75.
he played Argyle.
Yeah. Because he's one of those people who seems like he's been 65 for the past 100 years.
He was born at the age of 42. Okay.
I agree.
For fuck's sake.
He was younger than me. He was 49 in 1995.
That's a little crazy.
That is totally crazy.
He did
That's not the years, it's the mileage.
Yeah.
I think he's
Yeah.
he's probably got reasons.
Yeah. Obviously an outstanding actor. He's in a million things. I don't know if you guys were fans of Succession. That's not the only thing I was ever a fan of his, but man, he was so good in that television show. That was something that for the viewers out there that we got to, I think your viewers, that we got to watch just prior to, about a couple of years past, before the end of the world. The zombie attack, Mr. President?
Not at liberty to say. Please stop asking.
Okay, had to try. All right, so then young Wallace goes away.
Let me ask it this way, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Would Lenny Bruce be afraid?
I respect the hustle, but I'm not answering that.
All right. Fair enough. I had to try.
I'm glad you did. All right, so young Wallace goes away. Grown Wallace returns, and boy, does Mel Gibson just look handsome in this damn film. I don't know about you, but
very old.
And maybe older than he's supposed to be.
Yeah,
but
maybe
he's
years later.
Yeah.
One of the things I realized was that the actual William Wallace was 35 when he died.
Yes, and go ahead. Sorry.
And Mel Gibson was 38. So it's not that big of a disparity, but Mel Gibson looked very old at the beginning of his adulthood in that movie.
Yeah. Well, we know he's an avid smoker. I don't think he's ever quit. And I think he also had quite a bit of trouble with alcohol. So I'm sure that was part of what was wearing on him. But also was interesting is that one thing I learned in doing some research for this movie was that, they play William Wallace as sort of this underdog type of character who just basically was this wild man that lived in the woods. But that apparently wasn't true at all. Justin, do you know anything about that?
No.
Well, he had reservations at the Hilton. What we're talking about? He had his bougie coffee in the morning.
I'll be honest. I was trying to think of what I was going to say next. I didn't know I had to listen.
There was a fact. You know what? It's a dry run, but I have a fact here somewhere where it talks about where William Wallace really came from. He was like a trained knight. He wasn't just like a wild man. Yeah.
That's what it was. Okay, so actually I do remember now.
Yeah.
You can all relax. One thing, so in general, the movie does not hold together anymore. I mean, once you are old enough to absorb a little bit of history, you know that the thing is really highly fictionalized. But one thing about Braveheart, compared to, I think, the kind of the feeling of movies today, is that William Wallace's character in the movie, as ridiculous as he was irrepressibly moral. Even when it would have been so much easier and actually to his advantage to get along, to go along, or modify his ethics a little bit. He just refused, and he suffered the consequences, and so did people around him. Mm-hmm. And I think that, that's something I kind of miss about characters from the pre-apocalypse period and liked about that period.
Yeah. Well, since we're on this subject about some of the historical inaccuracies, I'm just going to go ahead and list a few that I found while doing the research. So one is the kilts. So as it turns out, Scottish didn't actually wear belted plaids, kilts, until 300 years after Wallace died. In the 13th century, they would have worn saffron-dyed tunics.
La-di-da.
Also, the blue paint, the woad body paint, was a look favored by the Picts, who fought the Romans nearly 1,000 years before the events of this movie.
Looked so cool.
It looks so cool. I mean, I'm still loving it. Don't get me wrong. There's really not much that's going to change my mind about the movie, except, of course, you know, some of the stuff that happens later in his life. But then there's Isabella of France. Apparently, would never have been able to have this secret romance with Wallace later on in the film, because in reality she was about 10 years old.
And that romance, we'll get to that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We'll get that. We'll definitely get to that. Okay. So then when Wallace returns home as a 52-year-old man, he kind of catches up with his old friends. There's a rock incident. I forgot about the rocks. So then there's that whole scene. It's a wonderful scene. The name escapes me, but that's what's the actor's name? Anybody?
The character's Hamish. I don't remember that bit.
Okay. Then we learn about prima nocte, which apparently is maybe not true. Maybe that didn't really happen in those times. At least I read some things that said that was just a myth, but it wasn't like, that didn't really happen. So, which is actually, watching it this time, knowing that now, I mean, that's a big part of this film.
Yeah.
For at least the first half of the film is like, but it was prima nocte, those bastards. All right, but anyway, apparently it didn't happen.
It's more, that's probably just a bit more PC than saying she was raped by the Landmaster. I think that's the way you can.
All it takes is for one lord or some noble to do it once, and it becomes, like the talk of the town. That's how gossip spread.
Yeah.
And they even say that in the movie, and they're interesting, that history is written by the people that win the wars. And if the British won, we didn't rape that lady. It was a medieval law that we passed and then enforced on them, or we'd kill them.
The screenwriter Randall Wallace was actually really clever there. He starts the movie basically saying, like, this is the truth, and if you hear otherwise, it's a bunch of shit. It's like the people who wrote history are the ones that would hang men. So he can kind of, basically with that little stroke of genius, he can basically get away with whatever he wants. And almost saying, like, this movie is the definitive version. Don't believe these historians. They would have hung all these people. So anyway, interesting. So, but speaking of that, so, adult William Wallace marries in secret. That ends up the Longshanks people catch on to that. They capture his lady love after they wed in secret, and they murder her. And then you're with the first major rebellion scene, which to me at the time that's a master stroke in building suspense, the slow motion, the sound effects.
So much slow motion.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, a lot. But it just really works. I mean, he's not subtle, but it does really work. And that first, when he takes that, I don't know, what is that, a lance or what? No, what is that weapon that?
Mace.
Cat o' nine.
A mace?
Mace. Or a pike, or I think you're right. I think it's a mace. It's not a cat of nine tails. I know that much. But so anyway, it's
a little bit of a better time.
And when he hits that first guy, I mean, it's just like I was just cheering because I had a huge crush on that actress anyway. She was a beautiful woman.
Plus, you hate British people.
Yeah, I mean that's just a given. Aren't we all in the same?
No, just getting the vibe.
So then after that, now he's kind of started, that's where the revolution really picks up. He basically builds like this Scottish army, and now he's just going after the English. There's so many different like little skirmishes and battles. And I mean, like personally for me, I loved all of it. I love a revenge tale, so it was just awesome to see for the most part. You're starting to learn some of the politics, the way that Longshank is actually sending Princess Isabella to negotiate, but he's doing some things behind the scenes. And I'm skipping ahead a lot, so if you want to stop me at any point and talk about anything. But the one big first battle that I think it's the Battle of Sterling Bridge, I think is what they call it.
Yep, Sterling. Yep.
And even though it's famously that's the battle, but they never feature the bridge, which was a huge part of that battle. But I will say that scene, I think, has influenced all the types of sword and sandals movies that come later, regardless of whether it's fantasy like a Lord of the Rings movie, which I love all of those movies as well. But I think this movie sort of solidified, like, if you're going to shoot a scene like this is how you do it. I think he sort of built the template.
Yeah.
Kind of like
to
what
your point, I think you can trace that battle scene all the way to episode 9 of season 6, Battle of the Bastards in Game of Thrones, when he stands up and faces him, and then they rush in at the last moment. It's all choreographed in this way that gave me serious Braveheart vibes back then when I watched it.
Yeah,
way back before the apocalypse happened.
What were you going to say, Mr. President?
I was going to note that I think for me, this was one of the first, I'll call it a war movie because they were at war. But it was one of the first war movies that I saw that didn't glorify the battle. Like, it was very visceral. It was, and my son was watching the movie as well, and he's an adult, and he was like, I've never seen a movie where you see the people crawling in the mud, and yeah, it was like that. And I was noting, like, yeah, this was one of the first movies where it was just like, oh no, it's not just I smack you and you fall. It's I'm going to take a sword and run it up through your groin. And
there's no doubt that in any movie of Mel Gibson's following Braveheart, whether it was Apocalypto or, of course, Passion of the Christ, he does not shy away from violence. He may like violence, I don't know, but he shoots it really well. I mean, he does a really, like, when I remember I had the same feeling watching Braveheart that I had many years later watching the D-Day invasion, them landing on the beach and saving Private Ryan. It was that it sort of catches me in the chest. It's hard to breathe. It's so visceral. It feels so real. You feel like you're there. I mean, I felt like I was in this movie in Braveheart. I feel like I'm in the mud. I'm blood splattered. You could see how difficult it was just to get through this thing. And especially what you noted there, Mr. President, about them at the end. It's just like they're still going at it, but they're exhausted. Half of them are probably dying, stuck in the muck, still just trying to crawl and have some sort of victory. And it was just, you'd never seen that side of the battle before. It was really something to behold. And to this day is still one that I show my 4-year-old son when I need to punish him for something.
I agree with what you're saying about the emotions that it brings up by not shying away with the brutality of the moment and the disgust in the violence and what's going on. And I was thinking the same point that you had, Saving Private Ryan. I remember being at university, and I was taking a film studies class, and Saving Private Ryan just hit the theaters, and it was all like, oh, this is going to be the biggest and the baddest. And we were all pumped up, like, let's go watch, some Nazis get punched in the face. This is going to be brilliant. We're all G'd up. We went in, and the plan was to have a great time in the movie and then go out and party. And we walked out of that movie just fucking numb. Like, from watching that brutality and the realism and the depth and the blood and the mud. And it wasn't like Arnold Schwarzenegger punching the bad guy in the face. It felt more real and brought on the brutality that we can do to each other.
Yeah, it was just a masterful scene. this was a movie that at the time we hadn't seen a lot of large scale. I think Hollywood at the time had sort of gone away from shooting these types of films in 95. So this was sort of a rebirth in a way of these types of movies. And especially in the time, 1995, I think the budget was like over 70 million, which is enormous for a film, for a director who'd only had maybe one other film that was far more artistic, The Man Without a Face. And he was untested really to direct something at this scale.
An epic. He was untested on an epic.
A true epic. I mean, and the cinematography is out of this world. I mean, the blue tints and hues, and you feel like you're there. I don't know how else to describe it, but it just feels like you're really there.
Scotland was beautiful in this movie.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So then, skipping ahead just a little bit, we get, there's a lot of politics. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. Can we handle breaks?
Yes. We need a break.
I need to evacuate some fluids into my apocalypse toilet.
I think that works. Okay, do we want to take 5? Does that work for everybody?
Yep.
Yeah, it works for me.
It works.
My dearest Renard, there is something in the air this morning. A changing of the seasons. First announced by the easing of the ache in my hips. Spring has come at last. But with it, an old but persistent ache has returned. Oh, you remember the day, don't you? The maypole standing there in proud display, erect, while the congregation circled it with rehearsed enthusiasm. We, of course, remained at the edges, models of restraint, though I recall your restraint began to falter that day. You stood there beside me, close enough to invite comment. Your hand brushed mine once, twice, and the third time it lingered there. I knew this was not by coincidence. Oh, we spoke endlessly of nothing, but neither stepped away. Then you suggested we take a turn beyond the green, a walk among the meadow into the shade of the trees. So gently, so reasonably, as though it was not a proposal of great consequence. I refused, of course. I said it would not do, that we must remain visible, that we were not the sort to be led off by impulse. And so we stayed, watching others wind themselves into knots, while we stood perfectly still, pretending we were not imagining our own entanglements. It seems to me now that something began that day, not in what we did, but what we so carefully did not do. A postponement of passion, one I recall we did not keep for long. With fond and improper persistence, your sweet Leonid.
One. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Well, we all took a piss. We're back. That was an interesting ad we read. Thank you, Mr. President, for having me do that. So now we have a segment, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna hear amongst us here on the show. We're gonna all share one of our favorite quotes from the movie. And Andy the Drunkard, why don't you go first?
God tells me he can get me out of this mess, but he's pretty sure you're...
Mr. President.
To say I have a fondness for the Irish, and I'm annoyed that you didn't say it in the way that an Irish person would say it, which is you're fooked.
Ooh. That is one thing if we said that, but when the president's annoyed...
Fair point.
That aside, drunk Andy.
I set it up, but not everyone's a winner. That's fine.
That aside, I will stick with the Irish, and my favorite quote was, "It's my island."
Very good. Justin, what about you?
I like the part where he says to his young love, I love you, always have.
I like that too. So one I already mentioned. I'm going to do two. One I already mentioned was, of course, Argyle. He says,
Yeah.
He says, you don't know Latin. Well, that is something we shall have to remedy, isn't it? I love that. And the other one is, I fight, and you may die. Run, and you'll live. At least a while. I always like that one.
You'll live. You'll live.
You'll love.
You'll live. At
And
least a while.
dying in your beds many years from now.
Years.
Anyway, yeah. What do you think about Mel Gibson's accent as a Scottish fellow?
I mean, I've heard a lot worse.
Yeah. I mean, I know
Yeah.
I probably couldn't do any better. I mean, obviously, I'm showing up on this show, right? But
I have taken vacations in Scotland quite a bit over the years because I was born right on the English-Scottish border. And I will say he did a better job than most American tourists do when they go to Scotland and decide to speak to Scottish people with Scottish accents. So for that, I can commend him. He did better than that.
okay.
He's a dirty Australian. They all, the South Africans and those dirty Australians, they can do any accent, I mean,
Dirty
it's just not
Australians.
Charlize Theron.
The pilot episode, Dirty Australian. Why aren't we getting ratings? I just don't understand.
Well, the Australians are like the Irish. Good luck insulting them. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
What's your
The
feeling?
rat bastard prisoners, right? Russell Crowe and the lot of them.
I
Off
do
to
not
the New
condone.
World.
I do not condone any of this.
Sorry. Mr.
I abstain.
President. Just having a laugh. That was my Scottish accent. Okay, so, all right. So where are we here? So we've talked about the Battle of Stirling Bridge. Now I was going to move to the capture, unless there's any. And there's a lot that happens in between. So if there's anything you want to talk about before the capture, let's do it.
I'll be honest with you. I liked the prince, and I liked the prince not because I thought he was such a great person, but he was trying so hard to just be who he was. Like,
Is this Robert the Bruce?
No, not Robert the Bruce. No, that guy was
Long Shakes
Yes, the
son.
yes,
Yeah.
the actual prince. Well, okay. Anyway, yes, I liked him as a character because he was just trying to live, man. He's just trying to live, and his father is really pushing him. I don't know historically or even in the movie if there were other heirs, if there were siblings, or if he was the only child of Longshanks. I don't know if it was ever clear in the movie, but he obviously did not want the job. He did not want to be king. Like, he wanted to just chill. And
He just wanted to do his own thing.
yeah, and there was a scene where he's walking down the hallway in the castle, and he's got his attendants around him, and there's a guy holding a full-length mirror walking along with him so he could check it. And I immediately thought of Morris Day in the Time.
Yeah.
him just walking and checking his outfit while he's going along.
I mean, yeah. And just for he just walked a few feet and he's like, oh, wait, hold on. Like and then he walked a few feet more. He probably did it again. What about Sophie Marceau, who plays Isabella? I think she is she's beautiful, though.
Ravishing.
Indeed.
Oh, God.
Ethereal.
Oh, man. And she's actually excellent in the film. I mean, a great actor. And again, she's one of these, you sort of capture them in this moment in time. And then I know she's gone on to do a billion other things, but I don't think I've ever seen her in anything beyond Braveheart.
I forget, I'm just spacing on the name, but the woman that William Wallace murdered by marrying her, she was in Ronin as well, around that same time.
Yes. I had an enormous crush on her. She is
Super hot.
Oh my God. She just got that very natural sort of beauty, or at
Totally.
least,
Catherine McCormick.
I mean, I know she's old as fuck now. I'm probably, who cares about her at all anymore? But back then, no, I'm kidding. Hey, I'm the editor. I get to take out what I want.
I do not
Snip,
condone.
throw that away.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, just an amazing actor. And this was the first time I did see the actor. There's two. The guy who plays the Irishman, who's like wackadoo in the movie, who's so wonderful. That was the first time I'd ever seen him. And he's never, in the things that I've seen, ever played that character again. He's always been a much more tough mafioso type. Like he's been like Scorsese often gets him into stuff. Yeah, go ahead and type it out there. We'll wait for you to do that.
I don't remember his name.
It sounds like a jackhammer. Sounds like the opening to Saving Private Ryan. Let me figure that out.
Oh, phew.
All right. Okay. So, so him and then the Robert the Bruce actor. I don't know if we ever saw him again. I really did sort of feel for that character, Robert the Bruce. I mean, obviously he was torn between the guy, his father, who was falling apart from some illness.
Leprosy. He was a leper.
Leprosy.
He was a leper. Okay.
Yep, gross.
You know who he really reminded me of in the makeup? He always reminded me of Rocky Balboa's trainer.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah, always. He always, in that makeup, and there was even something about the way that he spoke. I always, I should know this actor's name. Is it Burgess Meredith? Is that
It is
right?
Burgess Meredith, yes.
Yes, okay. He reminded me, in that makeup, he reminded me of Burgess Meredith. I could never... Anybody else feel that way about it, or
I didn't notice it in the moment, but you saying that, especially later as he progresses, the disease progresses, and he starts getting like the bandages across the face and stuff. It got more and more looking like Burgess Meredith at that point. Yeah. I kept waiting for him to like, Rocky, get up, but he never did. Okay. All right, so we've talked about some of the notable characters. There's a lot of politics involved. At one point, William Wallace gives a speech, and he really inspires some other Scottish nobles who have sort of just always begged for scraps at the table of Longshanks. And that guy Longshanks, by the way, is just an amazing actor with what he did. You just hate him. So one that I noted about Longshanks, the character, is. I wrote this down. I said his cruelty is consistent. And I think the consistency makes a difference, because sometimes you'll see characters in movies that they are cruel, but then they're not cruel sometimes. And it's just like, well, what is this person actually? And this dude, he was consistently cruel. He was incredibly smart. Like, he knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what outcomes he wanted to reach. And if you think about it, he won. Like, he lost little skirmishes and battles along the way, but on his dying breath, he basically heard William Wallace getting killed. So he kind of won. He did kind of win. I mean,
speaking of that death scene, that death scene was, I mean, this is in the era of obvious good guys and obvious bad guys. And yet, this is an obvious bad guy, and I remember all the way back then till now, watching that death scene and feeling his misery, because his acting is so good.
Right.
I felt compassion for this terrible character in his dying moments. Yeah.
Well, and I do want to get into the execution of William Wallace in a minute, because it's in stark contrast to the rest of the movie. But I'm going to hold on that for a minute. So one thing about Longshanks is that from a plot standpoint, he's always seems a few steps ahead of everything that they're trying to do, which again, it kind of shows that even though William Wallace sort of led this revolution and he became such an inspiration for so many, and according to the movie, even though William Wallace died, it eventually led to their freedom. he was always like one step to have a master strategist in a way, even though he was so cruel. I remember when he comes up with the idea of prima nocte, and somebody comments like, "Well done, sir," or something like that, and he's like,
"Was it?
Is it?"
Yeah.
It's like, even then, because basically he's saying like, "Well, why didn't you think of it, asshole?" Is basically what he's saying.
That was great, because in that moment, that exact moment, I said, he's going to kill that dude. That dude's about to die. And he didn't. And it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. But his look, oh man, if I had had somebody look at me like that, I'd be pissing in my pants. And Mitch would love it if he was here. Okay, so anyway, so the invasion of York. Wallace takes the fight to the English soil to prove Scotland can strike back. We got Princess Isabella in the mix. We got the Falkirk happen. We have Robert the Bruce, who devastates William Wallace in that scene. That was a real twist for me. I never once thought that Robert the Bruce was going to turn on William Wallace. And, of course, it's done in a really amazing way. And, of course, then you got these other Scottish lords and Robert the Bruce, who's now thinking, hey, we're going to do right by William Wallace, and we're going to bring William Wallace to us. We're going to have negotiations. But these two Scottish peeps, you know, are like, no, we're gonna try and finally capture him. And they were working with the Longshanks the whole time, and they capture William Wallace. Now, I don't know much about. I mean, obviously, you've heard he was like drawn and quartered in different parts, sent all over the world. I remember in this particular scene, again, just at a time in my life where this was like watching the death of a family member when I was in the movie theater. Just like, I just could not console myself at the time. It was really hard to watch, but expertly done. Whereas most of the film has been so in-your-face violent. Now they're cutting away.
Yes.
Which is far worse than anything you ever could have actually seen. And they have the little guy on stage who's mimicking what's supposed to be happening to him. So when
so clever.
So clever. When they're cutting open and the entrails are supposed to be coming out, they have someone sort of mimicking it with like a silk cloth or something, you know, just like, it was so well done, so disturbing. And there's even sort of this weird compassion of the executioner, who the one running the stage, who's like, you know, sort of announcing what's happening and sort of like gleefully allowing this to take place, but then also at a point where he would have thought nobody could withstand this pain anymore. William Wallace is just going to just take me now, get it over with, I'll pledge my allegiance, or whatever was being asked of him. But that's when he, of course, yells freedom. And powerful stuff at the time.
Yeah. Did you note at what point the crowd turned?
Mm-mm.
So the crowd wanted blood, because that was their entertainment, right? So they come in and they want him to die. And the longer he holds out, the crowd starts turning in his favor. They start begging for mercy, and they begin that mercy chant, you know, late in the game. And they're not going to give him mercy, obviously, but the crowd turned to William Wallace's, maybe not his favor, but they at least like acknowledged his stoicism. Yeah, you know, they respected him for sticking to his values and morals and principles. And it was kind of an interesting thing to watch.
When you were talking about the mood changing, you did have the showman who was, you know, trying to punish him, and the executioner, even though his face is masked, the body language, you see the turn in him as well, I think mimicking the audience, just like, come on, dude. Enough's enough. Sure. Like, let's just do this.
We don't have to go there. They probably have, you've made your point, and they've never had somebody that was so willing to, I guess, sacrifice himself, you know, or whatever. It seemed like they were even, like, what they were being asked to do was taking everybody to a place they'd never been before.
And they crossed the boundary of, you know, we're the celebrities on stage to now we're the bad ones. Because we've lost the people.
Yeah, and then of course eventually you see Marin come in, and then you know, okay, he's definitely on the other side now, and he's not feeling any pain. At least we hope so.
I would like to back up a little tiny.
Was I the only?
Oh, sorry, Justin. Please. Well,
just one last thing about the death scene. I don't know about you, but I remember thinking he's going to get through this somehow. Like, they're going to stop at just the right moment. And then when I saw the mimicry of the intestines, it was rope that he was pulling out as if they were intestines. Then I knew, like, oh, yeah, there's no coming back from that.
Yeah, that's not.
But I was hoping for a last minute, Jack Sparrow style. Saved him. That's what I was wanting as a 21-year-old.
For me, the one thing about the movie as a whole that really almost took me out of it was the manufactured romance between William and Princess Isabella. Like, it was so unnecessary and led to absolutely nothing. Like,
you're right. It didn't need to be there.
Nothing came of it. And watching it, it was like, well, all right. Number one, his primary motivation for all of this was revenge, all right, for the death of his betrothed, his woman that he's loved all of his life. And so to give him another love interest like this in the midst of battling the very revenge plot that he's fueling felt like it was undercutting his motivation a little bit.
Yeah.
And the second thing is nothing came out of that relationship, if you want to call it that he could not have gotten out of mutual admiration or mutual respect. That it could have been simply you know what, we're enemies technically, but I see what you're doing and I respect it. And that it could have been like that in both directions, and more like a, one of those versus a love thing.
She could have just been some sort of emissary that even if they found him irresistible, because William Wallace, I'm sure, was just a real looker. I agree with you. It's just one of those things that didn't really need to be there. And plus, one of the things, even though I still love this movie, the passage of time is sort of difficult to track in some ways in terms of when this began with the death of Marin and his revenge, and then the revolution and the army building and all this kind of stuff. You don't get a real sense of how much time is passing. So by the time you get to the point of Isabella, it kind of feels like it's kind of gross in a way that, you started this all off because of Marin, your wife dying, and yet you're banging this other chick. I mean, don't get me wrong, she's hot.
Prove that he can pull tail in every movie he's in.
Doesn't matter what it is. Yeah, even later. So if you had to compare between like Princess Isabella and Connie, like where are we at, Mr. President?
Princess Isabella is beautiful. Beautiful woman. Connie's a beautiful woman as well. I don't think I can really compare the two.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah.
Are you back with us, Mr. President?
I never left. I'm here.
Okay.
Standing strong.
All right. How's the First Lady, by the way?
I suppose she's great. We were actually separated at the time. Did you ever see Independence Day?
Of course.
All right. So, do you remember the situation in Independence Day when the infiltrators attacked and the First Lady was in one place and the president was in another place? It's a similar situation here where, I'm not going to say where I am, Connie. Okay. I'm not that crazy, but I'm in my place and she's in a different place and we're communicating, we're communicating with each other, but she's safe. Okay. That's important.
Gotcha. Are you sure she's not DED? I mean,
No, unless AI has gotten incredibly good in a post-apocalyptic way. She's fine.
Okay. Yeah, we certainly wouldn't want the First Lady to succumb to a nuclear wasteland.
I have no idea what you're referring to. Just don't go outside.
Okay, had to try. All right, so here's some trivia behind the scenes for Braveheart. So the extras. So most of the soldiers in the battle scenes were members of the Irish Army Reserve. And to save money, the same 1,500 men played both the Scottish and English armies. They simply changed costumes and flipped sides. And of course, in one scene, showed their dingalings.
Was that the big mooning scene?
I love pausing on that scene. Anyway, so the next one is the mechanical horses. So they didn't want to harm any horses in the making of this film. animal rights groups. I guess we don't have any more of those, thank goodness. To appease the animal rights groups, the production used incredibly realistic nitrogen-pressured mechanical horses. I will say, there was never a moment where I thought those were fake horses. It always looked real to me. So that was well done.
In fact, at one point when he kills one of the Scottish noblemen after the betrayal, and he runs and jumps out of the barn doors.
Yeah.
I was like, is that a real horse? And how did they get that horse to jump in the water like that?
Right. That thing looked so real. The nitrogen-pressured mechanical horses weighed 200 pounds and could run on these tracks. So that was not something you would want to fall on you or malfunction in any kind of way.
No. And
as I mentioned, go ahead.
That of course would be done with CGI now.
Today.
Like if you needed to show, I mean, there are horses that specialize in, acting like they took a lance, like you see in a Night of the Seven Kingdoms. But like that Battle of the Bastards scene that I keep sort of comparing it to, there were times in that scene where I thought, yeah, that's a fake horse. That's not a real horse, and I never, if you hadn't told me that, I never would have known it.
Yeah, never. It's pretty impressive. So as I mentioned before, so Mel Gibson, it says here, was about nearly 40 when he filmed the movie, and he was playing somebody in his late 20s. He didn't want the role. He just wanted to direct, but the studio Paramount at the time, big surprise, insisted he star in it to secure the $70 million budget. So that's why he did it. The real Braveheart. I didn't know this until doing the research. I don't know if anybody else saw this too. So historically, the nickname Braveheart did not refer to William Wallace. It actually belonged to Robert the Bruce.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah, legend said that after William Wallace's death, his heart was carried into battle in a silver casket. A knight supposedly threw the casket into the enemy ranks, shouting, No. Oh, sorry. So this is Robert the Bruce heart. So after he died, they carried it into battle in a metal case and threw it at their enemies and said, "Lead on, Braveheart." So that was a one-time thing, obviously. I don't think they were able to go back and retrieve it. So I'm assuming that didn't.
Yeah, my ball back.
Excuse me, I just need to pick this up. Okay, thanks.
It's the only hand we want it back.
Can I just have that back? It seemed really symbolic that I throw it, but in hindsight,
kind of dumb. We shouldn't have done that. Now, yeah.
I
wonder if it launched itself into the ground like that sword did. Just they're waving like this.
Hold on a second. I got to brush off this heart. 1 second. Anybody have any water?
Whatever that bagpipe song they played the entire movie over and over and over again was.
I don't know. I'm feeling a little compelled to eat it. Should I eat the heart, guys?
A different movie.
All right. Let's see. So what else is there to talk about? Anything else? Anybody else have any last thoughts? Last looks? Final thoughts?
Yeah. I don't know if it's too soon, but let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it. Can
Mel
we
Gibson,
separate the man from the movie?
Right.
I can. I think art can stand on its own, separate from the artist. And I think certainly, given the ignorance that we all had at the time that this movie came out, it's fair to try to preserve that ignorance when looking at this movie, in keeping that lens, because we didn't know. I think if Mel Gibson made Braveheart today, given all that we do know, it would not be wouldn't be perceived the same way, and we wouldn't look at it the same way. So I think for that reason, you need to take the art and put it aside and go, for what it was, for whoever made it, this is what it is, and to what extent it was influenced by his feelings and his politics and his thoughts and whatever, we don't know. So
yeah,
it stands on its own.
I totally agree. And I do tend to lean that way with other problematic actors, actresses, whatever, musicians. Like at least at the time, in that period of time, especially when maybe some of their ill will or misdeeds were unknown, I can still look back at those moments fondly, still enjoy the music, still enjoy the movies. I don't necessarily bring in the baggage that comes with what we've learned in the information age. So I agree. I totally agree. I can apply that to just about any artist out there. But Justin.
Yeah. So, my archetypal director for this is Clint Eastwood. Incredible director. The last movie I saw from him was El Camino, and he's like 9,000 years old and still able to act and direct a great movie. I think his politics are he is a wild weasel. He's crazy, but he can direct the hell out of a movie. And Mel Gibson is similar. Now, he's a raging anti-Semite, which makes it harder, but I can pretty much get over it.
It would be harder now, I think. I can look at there's a list of movies that, it's not even that long, to be honest. It was Braveheart and it was Apocalypto. Those are the two where I'm just like, those kind of stand on their own. Justin, I don't know if you actually liked Apocalypto. I'm curious. I loved Apocalypto. What are your thoughts?
I didn't make it all the way through it. I mean...
Really? Interesting.
No.
Extremely violent, but I just thought it was a really well done movie. But he definitely lost his damn mind in that movie.
Yeah. I mean, and I did watch the last Temptation, or the Jim Caviezel. How much stage blood can Jim Caviezel have on his body? That's what the movie was about. Yeah. And with the benefit of hindsight, I kind of feel like that death scene had little crucifixion vibes in it. Like, you think hanging's bad? Well, we're going to rip out your guts. Oh, you think that's bad? Well, we're going to stretch you until like your arms pop.
Except this time we're going to show it instead of have some clever artistic way.
True.
We're just going to show everything.
True.
It was. So I think I don't know. It would be difficult now, I think, to sort of get behind any movie directed by Mel Gibson, just because he's so, he is what he is.
I don't know.
He's just I don't know.
I think you'd have to see the movie. Like, once I found out that Clint Eastwood was a raving lunatic in his later years, I didn't really want to watch El Camino, but that movie was great. So if Mel Gibson ever directs again, I don't see him doing that. But if he did, I would judge it on the merits and not his raging racism.
I've heard he's had some Lethal Weapon movie in development for a long time, and I think he does want to do a sequel to The Passion of the Christ. At least those are the two things I've heard about. Of course, when he did Passion of the Christ, it was a self-funded movie. He made a just absolute massive fortune with the box office of the first movie, because basically it was like, at the time, I remember I've heard interviews about this, but if you were Christian and you didn't see Passion of the Christ, or Catholic and didn't see Passion of the Christ, you shouldn't even be believing, essentially, was kind of how they characterized it at the time.
Straight to hell.
You're going straight to hell. You didn't see Passion of the Christ? Oh, well.
Sorry, bud.
Doesn't even matter if you're going to be saved at this point, But, all right, so box office performance, just very quickly. Despite being a 3-hour R-rated historical epic that is usually considered risky, it was an enormous global hit. The budget was $72 million. Domestically, it made $75.6 million. It made another $134.8 million overseas, with a total worldwide gross of $210 million. It would win Best Picture, Best Director, Best Cinematography, Best Makeup, and Best Sound Effects at the Oscars. It was nominated for another 5 different Academy Awards. It was just a massive hit all around, and it is one that I will still occasionally turn on and watch. And someday I have a huge list of movies that I force my children to watch, and this will be on that list. So,
right next to Friday.
That needs to be on our list, because you know what? I've never seen Friday.
Friday? You've never seen Friday?
Straight to jail.
I don't
Straight to
know
jail.
why. I don't have a reason for
to
it. I'm a huge
jail.
Ice Cube fan, and I haven't seen it.
That is the most quotable movie I've ever watched, except for Harlem
Oh my
Nights.
God. It's Friday. You ain't got shit to do. Let's get high.
We're
Right,
gonna watch
or
it.
let's blaze
It'll
or
be-
something.
Man, if Chris
Maybe
Tucker,
it's
man,
after.
You got knocked the fuck out.
Maybe it's after Red Sparrow.
Where that's from.
you
Okay.
gonna cry in the car. There's so many quotes
see.
in that movie.
So see, I think I'm hearing Andy hasn't seen it either. So maybe we'll watch it sometime.
I grew up on Wayne's World. I didn't see Friday.
Okay.
And they're not mutually exclusive, you
They're not. I watched both.
slimy Brit.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
You have to watch Friday.
I was kind of waiting for something like this. Now that we're in this, I do want to watch it. I've always wanted. I know it's one of those blind spots that I need to watch, and we will for sure.
So many cultural references.
You can pass on next Friday. You know,
Oh, yeah, and Friday after next.
I've heard that too. I've
They're,
heard that.
they're not
It's just-
awful, but they're not at the level of Friday.
right? And from what I understand, Ice Cube wrote Friday, like it was his screenplay. Pretty.
I believe that is
impressive.
correct. Yes.
I mean, as you know, it's my favorite rap album of all time, 1992 Death Certificate. Every song I love. It was an education for me. There's certainly probably better rap albums, but that was an awakening. That was.
Yeah, I'd never even heard of a Black Korea before that album.
No, I didn't realize.
Oh my gosh.
Good stuff. All right. Any final thoughts or last looks before we close it up and get to our final verdict?
Oh, okay. Well, I was just gonna. So I'll hold back again a little bit, but 1995, Braveheart changed movie-going expectations. I don't think there's a Gladiator without Braveheart.
Yeah,
I don't think. I mean, and there's probably a dozen movies I can't think of that were right around that.
Kingdom of Heaven.
Kingdom of Heaven. Of course, that was a huge flop, but I mean, you know, Gladiator was a massive hit. Completely
300.
inaccurate.
Yeah.
Oh my God, 300.
All of it.
And you were mentioning the slow motion. I looked up how old was Zack Snyder when Braveheart came out, and he was 29. So that's like the perfect age to just.
He's watching it like, oh, but what if a movie is entirely in slow motion?
Yeah, and what if I make all of them 6 hours long
and very dark, very dark.
Right.
There's no light.
And now with CGI, I can just give them abs, but still make them work out. Yeah. Oh man. Okay, that's really good stuff. All right. So I think we're at the final verdict. This is where we're going to, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we go around the room and we decide whether this film is worthy to go into the vault, which means that it's worthy for humanity.
future generations.
For generations to come. For any survivors, as we assume there are many, right, Mr. President? We will determine the fate of this movie and if it goes in the vault for future generations to see, or if it gets obliterated. I'll come up with a better word when we really do it. All right. So, I mean, I think Andy, look, let's give it to you first. Look, like, has it been helpful for you to sort of get your mind off Sheila for a little bit and watch a movie, talk about it with the bros?
Well, if we're talking about keeping it for future generations and moving forward, this is going to be somewhat of an educational piece, and it really does make the English look like a bunch of bastards. Okay. So that does kind of tarnish my view a little bit. Also, I don't have a great attention span, and it was a 3-hour movie. But a lot of really bad people got punched in the face, and I like that. I'll say keep it.
There we go, worthy. All right, we have one worthy, Mr. President.
It is definitely masturbatory material for older white men, but I will say that it does strike a particular cultural chord that I believe needs to be heard in the future. I deem it worthy.
Okay, we have two worthies. It's down to you and me, Justin. And I'll defer to you first.
Well, as much as I hate to agree with our esteemed president, who I voted against 9
Oh,
times.
shit. Fired. Shots fired.
Shots
Hey!
fired.
Take note.
But he's dead
Oxygen.
on. Even if you don't like, I don't know how you can't like the movie, but even if you don't, or even if you're one of these people like me who loves to pick apart, that's not the right plaid, that kind of.
I hate those fucking people.
I know. We're the worst. Even with all of its trade-offs, it is an important cultural touchstone. So President Scott nailed it.
All right. Well, I mean, look, I think we all see where this is going.
Vault worthy, for sure.
Okay. All right. I think in the future we'll say worthy, unworthy.
Okay.
So we got 3 worthies.
Worthy.
All right. So, I mean, I'm the last one. I think we know where this is going. Majority rules already, so there's no tie like we had the first damn time, which I didn't have any way of fixing. So I had to ask Connie to help us, and she came in and helped us. But anyway, look, it's Braveheart. It's an Oscar-winning film. It's known to everyone. I'm going to show it to my kids and say, look, when you're older, you can masturbate because you'll be an old white guy one day, right? That's what we talk about with our children. I'll edit that part out too. Anyway, yeah, I love it. We know Mel Gibson to be a different type of man than we knew him to be in 1995. He was a superstar already, and then he made this turn to directing and just happened to be really damn good at it. It's still a hugely watchable film. And despite all the historical inaccuracies, which I don't necessarily always judge these types of movies by, if they really are done really, really well. If they're boring, like Napoleon, whatever that was called, which was just god awful. Sorry, Ridley Scott, but you do
He's
some
lost
great ones
it.
and you do some real stinkers too. Anyway, without further ado, worthy. 4 worthies. Braveheart going in the vault.
Lock it.
Preserved.
Excellent work.
Yes,
Puma.
sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your participation and your duty to your country, the Republic. And I would like to announce to you a little bit ahead of time, this time,
Okay.
the very next movie that you will be responsible for determining the fate of will be Red Sparrow, starring
Nice.
J-Law.
What? My God, what is that?
It's a beautiful film that you need to watch.
Okay. All right. Well, then, ladies and gentlemen, next time you see us, we'll be talking about Red Sparrow. Don't know what it is. Never seen it. But we'll watch it, and hopefully you'll come back and join us. That was this first pilot episode of Dystopian Drive-In.
Hey, Connie!
Mention it all.
Connie, is J-Law the same as Jennifer Lopez? No? They're different people? Well, which one is the one with... Oh, that's Jennifer Lopez. Oh.